Welcome in, everyone, to episode 45 of the Memes, Dreams, 32 Teams podcast. We are back with another episode. I'm Justin,
I am Eddie.
and week
I don't know
three,
why I said it that way.
week three was interesting, to say the least. We had
We
some
love that word.
games that did not go as planned, and we had some other things happen that record breaking.
Record breaking, most amazing thing I've seen in like couple football seasons.
We almost had
Two.
two.
We almost had back record broken. No, because that one was how far was the Jaguars
It was
that
a
failed? It was like
68.
it was a 68. Okay,
Yeah, they would have
so it
kicked
was
theirs
almost
first.
broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost broken, and then wow, that's really cool. When somebody did it better earlier.
Yeah. But before we jump into the week, the only news that there is to really talk about or to just like touch on is that Richard Sherman is trying out with the Bucks. I'm sure he's going to end up there. I don't see why he wouldn't get signed. They need secondary help. They're just slim, and I don't see why he wouldn't make it unless he's just not fit.
Unless he's just not up to snuff. Yeah, that'd be about the only thing why.
And
But
then
weirder things have happened.
True. And the only other thing is that Josh Gordon is signing with Kansas City, and I don't understand the move.
They don't have wide receivers. What do you mean? Patrick Mahomes doesn't need any more weapons. I don't know why Kansas City is a landing point, but I'm sure Josh Gordon ended up saying something like, "I want to go somewhere that's going to win, so send me to Tennessee,
Kansas
Tampa
City,
Bay, Kansas City."
Cleveland.
Yeah,
Just
I don't think he'd go back to Cleveland.
I mean, I don't think they'd let him back.
Yeah, so that's a better way to put that.
But yeah, we'll talk about him. We're gonna talk about every game, but I think Kansas City needs help on the other side of the ball.
Yeah,
So we'll
but
see.
does Josh Gordon still have suspension to carry out?
No, because his indefinite suspension just got lifted.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
So I don't know if there's anything that he has to do
I
other
mean, he's
than
been reinstated, so as far as I understand, that means he's
eligible
good
to
to
play
go.
next week, I guess.
Yeah,
So I mean, we'll
ready. He's ready for his 6th suspension.
yeah we'll see what happens. But let's just jump into the Thursday night game from week 3, and that is Carolina going into Houston.
This is the least exciting Thursday night game we've had yet, which isn't saying much because the other two have been insane.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Carolina looks good. I won't say that
With a
they look
question mark.
great, right? They are definitely probably the 3-0 team that I have the most question marks about.
Yeah.
They come to Dallas next week, so it will
Should end their undefeated season, but
but they don't have Christian McCaffrey.
yeah,
He's out with a hamstring injury. They did lose their cornerback J.C. Horn, who they drafted in the first round, to a broken foot, which is a huge loss for them. They did trade Dan Arnold away to get C.J. Henderson, a cornerback from Jacksonville, who I think is underrated, but has been unfortunate to be sitting in Jacksonville's system. So they definitely, while they're going to miss J.C. Horn, getting C.J. Henderson basically makes it like a null and void type of injury.
yeah. I mean, it sucks nonetheless, but they pulled a piece out, put a piece right back in. So I don't think they're going to miss a beat. I don't think they're going to beat the Cowboys. But if you after the end of week 1, we saw Tampa Bay eke out the win. We saw New Orleans destroy Green Bay. We saw um, Falcons lose like we expected to the Eagles, and we saw the Panthers beat the Jets.
Yeah.
At the end of week 1, would you have expected the Panthers to be 3-0, leading the division?
No.
I would have put my money on almost anybody else. Maybe not the Falcons.
I was gonna say 1 and 2 was what I was expecting after week 1 because I was expecting week 2 them to play New Orleans and Jameis Winston to look good and beat them,
Mhm.
which didn't happen.
At all.
Then week 3, I was expecting Tyrod Taylor to still be playing and playing the way he did in week 1 and basically make Carolina look silly. But Carolina, in a sense, got away with just playing Houston, who had literally no one. Like,
Yeah, they got lucky. Davis Mills came in, did what he could, but what he could wasn't the best. He didn't have a bad game. I mean, 168 yards, touchdown, not great, but he didn't turn the ball over, which is a huge plus. But that was basically all of their production right there.
you can just see the difference though between Tyrod to David Mills. Like it's a vastly different team.
It's not so much like, oh, we don't trust him. It's more of, dang, this is what we've got to work with. Okay, and there's just not much there to work with right now.
Which I
That was
think
his first start as a rookie, first start in the NFL. So not everyone comes out the gate running. Most don't.
I think it just goes like credit to Tyrod Taylor because he made this Texans team look relevant.
Very good.
It's really
I will say
unfortunate.
very good. Relevance better.
It's just unfortunate
Yeah,
he gets injured.
it's for him and the Texans as a whole. Yeah, it's not looking good for them. And we had a lot of question marks before the season leading in with the whole Deshaun Watson thing anyway. And then Taylor came in week 1 and pretty much put all that to rest. And
I
then
honestly thought it
unfortunately
was
he got
just going to be
hurt.
his
And
team the whole season, and I mean, I could
it
have
was
seen
going to be.
if Tyrod Taylor would have played the whole season, I could have seen them winning if he played like that 10 games.
Hmm.
Like
Pushing for that wild card spot.
we talked about them before. They have a lot of like average players, above like average to above average, kind of in that little range. And if you just get enough things going, you can just win games. So like I
Yeah,
could have seen them turning that whole team around, and it's just really unfortunate. But we'll see what Davis Mills does in week 4. They end up going to Buffalo, so I'm
not expecting much out of that. But for a first game for Davis Mills, he didn't make really any mistakes. He didn't. He had no fumbles. He had no interceptions. Had a touchdown. Got sacked 4 times, but the sacks aren't always on the quarterback.
yeah.
Had about 67% completion rating, a little bit above that. It's not the worst. We've seen worse quarterbacks. We'll say that. I mean,
We
if we
have,
want to talk
yeah.
about other rookies with their first starts, unfortunately, if you're got anything else to say on this game, go ahead and transition to Bears and Justin Fields'
Oh
first start, which was
man,
utterly disappointing in my eyes. I was so unhappy to see that.
it sucks. He went 6 for 20.
The craziest thing about this is, yeah, 6 for 20, terrible. 68 yards in 4 quarters, terrible. He ended up positive 1 yard net
On
because he got sacked so many times.
oh
He got
my,
sacked 9 times for 67. So he ended up net 1 yard.
this game right here. Like obviously we want to talk about the Bears and how bad they looked, but this was probably one of the most dominant performances that I've seen in a long time from any team.
Just all the way around, all 3 sides.
Cleveland had 215 rushing yards.
That's 5 times the total yards that the Bears had. The Bears only had 30 plays in this whole game.
I just,
I I mean,
I,
I don't know what there is to say. The Browns looked very good, did everything right, and the Bears just didn't.
this is the Browns team that we were expecting to see.
Yes, and not so much the Bears team we were expecting, but this was the Browns team we were expecting.
It's not the Bears
I mean,
team that we
they
were. The Bears. Let's like. It's not the team that we were expecting, but
not this.
I'm. At the same time, I'm not shocked. It's Justin Fields' first start. He has to play against Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett.
A stacked team.
Yeah, like I.
Next week he's against the Lions.
That is when he needs
That's
to really.
This is best case scenario for him.
If he starts, because they did say that all 3 quarterbacks are eligible to start next week.
Mm-hmm. Nick Foles being
If
the third.
Justin Fields starts next week and he again goes like 4 for 15 and then gets pulled, I'm worried.
He's going to be done for a while. I don't see them starting him again, unless Nick Foles and Andy Dalton just can't go.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. But Cleveland, like, this is in a sense, almost a perfect game. They gave up 2 field goals, but like,
so be it.
No turnovers. They ran for 215, threw for 246, one touchdown in the air, 1 on the ground.
No turnovers at all in this game.
It was just almost a perfect game from Cleveland. That's pretty much it. They played really well. So
they played really well.
They do go to Minnesota next week, which Minnesota has been like hot and cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say that next week will be a good test for Minnesota, but we'll talk about them in a bit. They played against Seattle and they won, so it's hard for me to say like they have to show up, because they did show up this week. So I don't. They seem to be consistent with it, is all Minnesota has to do. So we'll see what happens in next week with that Cleveland Minnesota game.
Yeah.
But Buffalo, I mean, not much to say on this game. They came back-to-back weeks. They looked good again. This is the Buffalo team, like last week, that we were expecting to see.
And they just blew them out of the water.
They beat the Dolphins 35-0 last week, and they unfortunately hurt Tua. So, like, I don't want to say that Miami looks horrible, but you know what I mean. Then they played Washington, 143-21, and
7 of those were garbage time. I'm saying the whole fourth quarter is basically garbage time.
I mean, 43-14 then is the score.
Yeah.
So 4 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground. Josh Allen, all 5 touchdowns. The only thing with this team, with Buffalo, is I think it was the same issue last season that I had with them. I can't fully remember, but they just really don't run the ball that effectively.
Yes and no. I mean, they had 122 yards on the ground. Josh Allen shouldn't have any of that. He only had 9, so that's not terrible. But they're doing a 2.5 running back system, I'll say. Because they're pretty much splitting carries between Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. And then they have a third running back, Breida, who didn't even get any carries. Is he hurt?
No idea, off the top of my head.
So I guess they're running a 2 running back system then now. But they're doing everything they can on the ground, and it's not much.
It's so hard for me to harp on it too, because I'm like, oh, they don't have a running game, but then Josh Allen throws for 32 for 43, 358, and 4 touchdowns. Like no, he wasn't even sacked once. Like,
what more do you want?
It's hard for me.
Who needs to run it whenever you've got basically 80% completion rate, a little bit under 80% completion rate, and 4 touchdowns through the air? Like, you should be able to win a game if you get 4 touchdowns. Should.
And then on the other side of the ball, I mean, Taylor Heinicke, like, this is just the downside of him not having a lot of NFL starts. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Like,
he's doing what he can.
He's still able to produce. Obviously, you don't want the 2 picks, but he can still show you that he can put points up on a good defense like Buffalo. So this is just him needing just more time. He's
not bad.
I think if he can continue to progress in the right direction this season, he will be their starter next season. He just needs to continue the trend. I don't need Taylor Heinicke to come out next week and throw 7 touchdowns. I just need him to continue to put the right foot, like 1 foot in front of the other, right?
Yeah. And again, I feel like we're going to be saying this a bunch, because there's about a quarter of the league that is just not good right now. He's got the Falcons to go against next week. So again, I feel like that's a good chance for him to get his ducks in a row, so to say.
Yep.
And try to get comfortable.
So we'll see. I mean, this team, we talked about it before the season, this team's stacked. They're just missing a quarterback at this point.
Yeah, which they had to start the season with, but
and
he'll be back.
I think Taylor could do it. He just needs to
He needs time.
Yep, that's pretty much it. He definitely needs the opportunity because I just looked at his stats. He's started like maybe 10 games in his career.
Yeah, I mean,
So he just needs to play. That's
yeah,
really it.
pretty much. And he'll
uh,
get that experience. I mean, he's got the next what Fitzpatrick's out for. Is it until week 8 at the earliest?
yeah, through week 8, I guess is the better way to put it.
Through week 8. Okay, so he's
Um,
got 5 more games to go for sure.
which if I was Washington, I would just let Taylor keep playing. Uh, and just let him learn. And then if things go really south, then you can put Fitzpatrick back in when he's back and healthy.
If he
Uh,
doesn't prove himself over the next 5 weeks or in his 6 starts, I guess, then yeah. But I mean, he's got every chance in the world to earn that starter position for the rest of the season right now.
mm-hmm. But to the game that had a record break,
The
Baltimore
storyline,
Detroit.
game
Obviously,
play of the week.
we will talk about the Justin Tucker kick in a second. But I want to talk about the rest of this game because
The Ravens should have lost.
without Justin Tucker being the greatest kicker of all time, officially now considered the greatest kicker of all time, right? Like he's the most accurate, but he's never had the
He's
longest.
the guy. Yeah.
Now he has the longest, and he's the most accurate.
Let's put it this way. Well, and I last thing I'll say on just Tucker, and we'll get to the rest of it. He had 13 of their 19 points in this game. Without Justin Tucker, the Ravens got demolished by the Lions. Without Justin Tucker.
It's weird.
But
Big-
as
big-
for the rest of the team,
It's weird because Baltimore last week showed out and beat Kansas City. Obviously, it was a close game, but that's what we expected. If Baltimore was going to win last week, we expected it to be a close game.
I mean, if we're talking about beating Kansas City, you can't do anything wrong, and you have to be on your A+ game to beat Kansas City. So, and that's what they did. They're a good team. They just proved it against Kansas City, and then they come into this game and beat the Lions with 1 second remaining, with no time remaining.
But without that field goal, I mean, they lose. Like you said, that's a loss. There's no if, ands, buts, no questions. It's literally
Yeah.
Detroit had this game, and they were in a spot that they said, "Go ahead, kick the 66 yarder. You won't make it."
I would have said the same thing if I was the Lions.
And then he
You're
made
talking
it.
about a record, yeah, and then he made it. A record-breaking field goal. Most kickers can't kick it from 58 yards. I mean, there's
Cowboys
only
kicker can't make an extra point.
exactly. Oh, where's your line? Yeah. So I mean, the Lions had this game and lioned it away. I don't know how better to put that. I was about to say they haven't been a second half team, but I guess they're just not a closing team anymore.
They're
Because last week against Green Bay, they had them going into half and then didn't do anything in the second half. This time they just flipped that around and did everything in the second half, and then lost at the last second.
it's just crazy to me that Lamar Jackson ends up still with 33% of their rushes, and he's the leading
Same.
rusher.
He's 4th in the league right now.
Yes, he is 4th in the league. It is Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, then Lamar Jackson.
That can't happen.
I mean, he's that talented. We get it.
And I understand playing to your strengths like that. The Ravens playing to your strengths, you have a dual threat quarterback, so why not use him? But come on.
The worst part is Latavius Murray was averaging 4 yards a carry, and the youngster Tyson Williams was averaging 4.4, and they totaled 12 carries. It's like they just don't. There's no trust. There's no belief.
If you're telling me I have X running back who averages between 4 and 4.5 yards a carry, I'd have no problem giving him the ball.
I'm just
But
curious.
yet,
Like, where is the disconnect? Like, I want to know.
Well, I'm curious though. So Lamar Jackson had a third of their carries again, which he had a third of their carries last week, third of their carries the week before. Is that their game plan, or is 2 of these a designed run and the rest of them are him scrambling out of the pocket?
It's a mix. They do a lot of designed runs,
That
but
part of it I understand, and this goes for any team in the league. Your quarterback should not have to scramble out of the pocket more than 2 or 3 times a game. I mean,
shouldn't. Things
shouldn't.
happen. You
I
play better
mean,
defenses,
sometimes you
right?
get sacked
But
9 times in a game.
He was sacked. Oh, yeah. He was sacked 4 times this game. So like, I don't know, man. I was excited after Baltimore beat Kansas City, and then now they beat Detroit, and I'm like, I don't know.
This is the kind of win that you go into the locker room and the coach is furious.
Either
It's like,
he's
"Congrats, you won, but you played like absolute dog crap."
either he's pissed, or he's just like just confused, and he doesn't know what to say, and he goes, "I'll see you guys on Monday. You don't get a day off,"
Pretty much.
and he just walks out, and you're like,
Pretty much.
I don't want to go to practice on Monday. I don't want to run.
You shouldn't have lost to the Lions
I mean,
because by all intents and purposes, they lost this game. It goes down as a win because of Justin Tucker. The other 52 players on this team lost.
I'll disagree with you. I'm gonna take you players off that list. Every player that was on the field, the 11 that were on the field during
Okay.
the record-breaking kick, you won the game. You did your job on the game-winning play. The other 42,
Basically,
here.
everybody that's not special teams. See you Monday.
Oh man. So I don't know. And the thing with Detroit is like they're showing
It's
glimpses.
I was about to say, it's almost like they're figuring it out. Almost.
Week 2 against Green Bay had a first half, no second half. Baltimore, no first half, had a second half. And they just gotta
If they can figure out, I'm not even gonna say all 4 quarters. If they can figure out 3 quarters, they might win some games.
they play, yeah, we know they play Chicago, so honestly,
They may only need 2.
they may only need 1.
It depends on the quarterback.
True. I don't know. We'll see. But Detroit, like, we were worried about them. Obviously, they're 0-3. I'm not as worried on Detroit as I was at the beginning of the season.
Still worried, but not. Yeah, it's not full panic
Yet.
yet.
But to
I
a
don't
team
know.
that people might be panicking on, it's the 0-3 Colts. They lost to Tennessee, and
They're 0-3. Again, not a team that I thought would be 0-3 at this point in the league, or at this point in the week. Let me get my words. This point in the season,
it's
I
hard.
didn't expect them to be 3-0.
It's really hard because they started with Seattle, the Rams, and then the Titans.
I figured they'd come away with one of those games.
I would have hoped for 1 win.
The fact that they're 0-3, not too surprising. It's not like they laid down and died any of these games.
There was a good chance if Carson didn't sprain both ankles in week
Both.
2, both ankles, both.
They could have beat the Rams last week.
There's a chance they could have beat the Rams.
Yeah. And then this week he was just kind of there.
This was like more of what we expected to see from Tennessee. I mean, Derrick Henry didn't score any touchdowns, but
Yeah, he was cooling down from last week, scoring 4 and almost 200 yards. He's okay. This is a down week for him. You realize that, right? This is a down week for Derrick Henry. He had 28 carries and 113 yards.
I want to be angry with what you said, but I can't.
I mean, he's just that good. He really is that good. That this might be the worst week of his season.
He averaged 4 yards a carry on the dot. Exactly what we expect from Derrick Henry. Also, his worst week will be week 1 when he only rushed for 58.
Okay, there you go then. I said that and I was trying to go look, but yeah.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 receivers caught a ball for Tennessee this week. I want to do the counting real quick. And A.J. Brown was not one of them because he was injured.
He got injured early on. Yeah.
So Tennessee looks. I mean, Ryan Tannehill threw 2 picks, but
Luckily, well, let's see this real quick. On Tannehill's picks, both in the second half, the Colts punted after both. They had 3 and outs on both of them. Sorry, 3 and out and then a 4-play drive.
no, it's the other way. It was a
Oh,
touchdown
I'm
and
looking at that backwards.
a touchdown and a field goal. They got
I
10
was
points
looking
off
up,
of
not
turnovers.
down. I'm sorry. I was looking up, not down.
Yep, 10 points off turnovers.
So, and that's okay. So then the
Let's
Colts
say,
did what they were supposed
I
to
mean,
do off
yeah,
the
if you
turnover.
think about it, take away those 10 points. Colts are at 6. Add, let's say 7 to Tennessee's side, right? Say they punt on one and they get a touch on the other. That's 32 to 6.
Which is more like what we would expect out of Tennessee.
Yeah, and then the other
But
turnover was a fumble, which turned into a punt. So
I was looking at that upside down. I feel dumb now.
it's fine. It happens to the best
Not
of us.
abnormal. Yeah. But still not any cause to panic on either side, I don't think.
Well, the Colts play. I just looked it up. The Colts play the Dolphins this week. Tua's not back. If the Colts lose to Jacoby Brisket and the Dolphins, I will have the panic button in my hand, ready to press.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Okay.
I won't press it yet, but it'll be in my hand.
Then looking at their schedule, at what point do you hit the panic button then? Because it wouldn't be after the Ravens.
If they lose to Davis Mills and the Texans,
that's when I'm starting to get worried.
I'm like slamming the button. I'm like, get us out of here.
If they're anything worse, if they are 2-4, I'm still having it out. Anything worse than 2-4, they need to start panicking.
I would agree. So, but Tennessee, I mean, they're trending in the right direction after their week 1 they got slaughtered. Week 2 against the Seahawks had a little of a blunder and had to come back and win that game in overtime. Week 3 more secure of a win. Then the next 2 weeks they played Jets and Jags. They really need to just make these teams look like children.
They should win combined 60 to 60, 70 points to 10 to 20.
Derrick Henry should have 300 rushing yards in the next 2 games. Easy.
Yeah.
So we'll see what goes on.
Are we using Derrick Henry to gauge the Titans' success?
100%.
That's a good metric. Yeah.
100%. I mean, it's just how it is. You know what I mean?
The Titans are one of the few teams in the league, and I know we've said this before, that have both a solid passing game and a solid run game. There's only 4 or 5 teams that legitimately have both sides covered.
I would agree.
And those 4 or 5 teams are going to be the teams that we see in the playoffs during the conference game.
I mean, we've talked about one of them so far. Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then Tennessee, and that's it. And in this next game, I wouldn't count either of these teams. LA Chargers went into Kansas City, into Arrowhead.
One of the toughest, if not the toughest stadium to go into and play, especially against this Kansas City team, which, as we said earlier, does need a little bit of help.
I do want to point out 2 things. Justin Herbert looked really good.
Yes.
Really
Very
good. On the opposite side of the ball, I brought this up last week. I'm going to say it again. Patrick Mahomes needs to calm down and stick back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
He threw a no-look pass that didn't need to be a no-look pass because the wide receiver was wide open. And then it bounced off the guy's hand because he threw it out here, way outside. Then it got picked. So if he just
what was the reasoning for that?
Looks at the guy and puts it right in the numbers like he's supposed to.
Like he can do, like we've seen him do.
I'm not trying to say Mahomes is a bad quarterback or he's trash. It's just his skill is too high.
He's trying to do too much.
That he thinks it's higher than it really is.
He is not a 60% completion passer, which is what he did this week. 61%. He's way better than that.
And he threw 2 picks. It's the same that happened in week 2. He was about to get sacked and tried to make a play out of nothing, threw a pick. Like he just needs to just take a second and think. It sounds really difficult because the game is moving so fast, but just like he needs to understand the situation. That's it. Which sounds dumb because he's won a Super Bowl. Like
Yeah,
I shouldn't have
it's
to
not
sit
like he
here and say that
doesn't
he
know.
needs to learn.
No, it's not like he doesn't know what to do. I think he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that has a really big ego. However, we're not in the locker room. We're not the one talking to the coaches with him. We're not the one talking to his agent with him. His ego could be massive, and we could just be seeing that's what's showing on the field right now.
hmm
That he is the guy. Oh, did you see that parallel to the ground no look pass behind the back that he had last year in the Super Bowl
He did a barrel roll and threw the ball at the same time for 70 yards.
with
You guys see that?
his foot?
Yeah.
Like the thing is, we know he can do that. The thing is also he doesn't need to do that. There's literally no reason to do that. The only reason he did that is because he was getting sacked and they couldn't afford to take the sack, so he just tried to make something happen, and it worked. Lucky as all hell.
One of the reasons why Tom Brady's been so successful is because he does all the simple things very efficiently and effectively. And that's all
Yeah.
Mahomes has to do. That's it. Again, like I'm not disputing his ability. I'm not disputing how smart he is as a quarterback. The guy's won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. It's none of that. It's
I
just
mean, it's to the
he
point
should
where
not they should not be 1 and 2.
no, most surprising under 500 team by far.
100%. 100%.
But
The most
if
surprising 1 and 2
Mahomes
teams.
completes what 3 more passes this game, maybe they win this.
Depending on the situations of those passes, yes.
Right. But
I mean,
he just needs to calm down. That, like you said, that's the best way to put it.
that's it.
He needs to take that. He needs to take that extra quarter second before he makes a decision until he's back to where he's comfortable again, to where he can just immediately after he's got the ball in his hands after the snap know exactly what he's looking at, like he did last year and the year before.
And I'm worried about Kansas City's defense.
Not as strong as
They've
we
given up
originally expected.
29, 36, and 30.
Yeah, not.
It
what
is
we were
very
expecting.
difficult. I don't care who your quarterback is. It is very difficult to win games when you are giving up 30 points a game.
Yeah,
For example, Denver in their division is 3-0. How many points have they given up this season? 26.
look at who they've played though.
I
That's the other
don't
side of
care.
this.
It's easy to win games when you don't give up points.
Yes, it's also easy to win games when you're playing a team that's a little bit better than a high school.
Hey, they're doing what they have to do efficiently. Denver's doing
I
great.
agree with that.
Kansas
I completely
City
agree
should be
with that.
3-0 and should not be giving up 30 points a game, in my opinion. This is a Super Bowl winning team who should not be playing the way they are.
Yes, I agree with that.
On the other side of the ball, the Chargers
Did everything
will
right.
they're 2-1. They lost to Dallas in week 2. But in a sense, even it was we went to overtime. Right? Did I go crazy? Did we go to overtime? Am I going crazy?
No
No.
overtime.
It was a last second field goal. Sorry.
Yeah.
I remember watching that game and then it switched to the Tennessee Seattle overtime game. My bad.
There you go.
I mean, the Chiefs could honestly be 3-0 here.
The Chiefs should be 3-0.
The Chargers,
the Chargers.
Sorry, apologies. The
Chargers
Chargers could be
should be.
3-0.
I'm not going to say should be because the Cowboys are a damn good team, but they are literally 1 second, 1 field goal away from being 3-0.
Which would make their division 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 1-2.
Kansas City.
I don't know.
Again, another division. Did not expect to be shaken out this way.
I'm not pressing the panic button on Kansas City.
No.
It's inched a little closer to me. I may have pulled it, from like my living room table, and it may be like over here on this side table over here. It's a little bit closer. I've moved the
Are
panic
you
button.
more worried from your preseason expectations to now? Are you more worried about the Colts or the Chiefs?
The Colts, just because Kansas City has the talent to make it work. That's all.
Yeah.
But we'll transition to the next game, which is Atlanta, your boys, going to New York and beating the Giants. It was also on a last-second field goal, wasn't it?
Yes. Young Hoku. Not a good game overall. Neither side looked great. I will say the only highlight of this game and pretty much the whole Falcons offense is Cordell Patterson. Don't know where he came from. Don't know where he's been. But we are a very solid 0-3 without him right now. I don't know if he's a running back. I don't know if he's a wide receiver. I think he's technically a wide receiver.
He is technically a wide receiver.
But he last week he kind of broke
kickoff
out.
returns, touchdowns in his career.
Yeah, he's very good at what he does. But he's changing the pace of our offense for the better, for sure. But we do exactly what we did against the Giants that we do against probably 25 other teams in the league. That's a loss still.
I mean,
if you on paper, this game looks like the Falcons had a really good game.
I wouldn't even say really good. You guys threw 227, 2 touchdowns. Awesome. He was sacked three times. You know, I would prefer less. 69 rushing yards. Nice. Like no run game. You lost the fumble. The Giants, 1 rushing touchdown from Saquon, expected. 246 in the air, 100 on the ground. This game honestly just like looks like nothing happened at all.
Yeah, nothing really did happen. It wasn't a very fun game to watch. It's just the whole game was just lackluster.
The Giants 0-3. I'm gonna double check their schedule. You know, honestly, I thought they had a better chance against Denver, but the way Denver's been looking, you know, not shocked. I knew they were gonna lose to Washington.
Which they almost won.
Not to Taylor Heinicke. I thought it'd be Fitzpatrick, but and then this was the game.
Yeah,
where I was like, well, here we go.
I don't know. So far, this is about the only game that should have ended in a tie. Nobody deserved to win this game.
I think the Giants end with a top 5 pick in the draft. They do not look good.
That's the way it's trending right now.
I thought they'd be playing better than the Eagles, but I want to take back everything that I said about that. Because the Giants do not look good. And your Falcons, unfortunately,
do not look good.
Do not look much better.
No. The Falcons go up against a quarterback that knows what they're doing. I say knows what they're doing, not to say Daniel Jones doesn't. Quarterback that knows how to read the field very quick and has that experience to make a snap-second decision, like when we're going to have to play against Tom Brady and the Bucs. We're going to lose again, probably like 50-0.
Yeah.
Because the Falcons defense has, I think if we had 12 men out there, we'd still lose most games.
That's so bad.
It's very bad.
We'll jump off that game because nothing really happened. To a team in your division, New Orleans went into New England, and this is sort of how I expected the Saints to look in week 2.
And just didn't.
Didn't.
What's crazy about me is for me, in both of the Saints wins, for week 1 against Packers, week 3 here against the Patriots, Jameis Winston doesn't even have 300 total passing yards combined in those 2 wins.
You want to know a crazy stat? I know we're 3 games in, and I'm going to say it like I'm on SportsCenter. In games that Jameis Winston throws no picks, they win. And in games that he does throw picks, they lose. Coincidence?
So far, that's how it's working out.
I think not.
You're telling me turnovers are bad?
That's crazy. They did pick off Mac Jones 3 times. This is the first time that Mac Jones this season has looked like a rookie to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they lost week 1, but he threw 281 yards and a touchdown, no picks. Week 2, they played the Jets. He threw no touchdowns, but they played the Jets, and they got like 17 turnovers on them. So like, he didn't have to do much. This week he had to do something and
couldn't. It wasn't for lack of trying. He threw it 51 times and had 6 carries.
But yeah, this is the first time that Mac Jones looked like the Mac Jones we expected.
Maybe you expected. I'm still not high on Mac Jones.
No, this is the first time he looked bad.
Okay, there you go.
Like bad. Like, why did they draft him? Question mark. And they play Tampa Bay, which I think he is going to have another poor week.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think Tom Brady's going to go into New England and say, "Here's 70 points. Have a good
Well,
night."
it's a revenge game for him. It's a bounce back game for him. It's Bucks by 40. Like it's not going to be a good game for New England.
This New England offense, to be honest, I just don't think has like talent anywhere, except for tight end. Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, awesome. Everywhere else,
I mean,
you're okay.
they might have the worst run game in the league. They had from their running backs, they had 22 yards,
No, 21.
21 yards.
Is that or
Sorry,
is that a
there's
wide
minus.
receiver? Is that a wide
I think
receiver?
I don't know. Did they try some jet sweeps?
No, it's a
No,
running
he's a
back.
running back. So yeah, sorry, 21 yards on 11 carries.
Oh God, this Patriots team, what a fall from grace after losing Brady. They play
It's almost
they play the Bucks, which again I think they're gonna get smacked. They play the Texans, which is gonna be like round 2, like they play the Jets again. Then they play the Cowboys, who I think will smack them. Then they play the Jets again for round 3. This team could be, honestly, could be 1, 2, could be 3-3 through 6 because of teams they're playing.
sometimes the schedule shakes out like that. Don't forget they got to play the Titans and the Bills twice,
No, they play the Titans once,
and
the Bills twice,
the Titans and the Bills twice. Yeah,
and
yeah.
the Browns,
Oxford Common.
and the Chargers.
Yeah.
And hopefully a Colts team that is healthy by then.
So there's
and a Tua that's back in Miami. Yeah, they're gonna have a fun time.
They're gonna end up with less than 5 wins at this rate.
But New Orleans.
If they keep on doing this hit and miss thing,
the next 2 weeks for New Orleans, I'm not kind of really gonna pay too much attention to them, to be honest. They play the Giants and they play Washington. I think they should win both of those. I think it should be 4-1.
yeah.
When they go to the 2-game stretch between Seattle and Tampa Bay, that's the real test on if this team is a wild card team or can they push to the like a late playoff run. That'll be the first test.
For me, I mean, I ruled them out from winning the division. But that's kind of shifting at this point. I know it's still early. We still got 15 weeks to go.
I mean, at this rate, Carolina's going to win it. So
yeah. So this the only one I'm still confident in is Falcons are not making playoffs at this point.
Yeah, we'll see. But to a game that some of these games I just really don't know what to talk about. Like Cincinnati at Pittsburgh.
Jamar Chase looks great. Najee Harris doesn't look bad.
Jamar Chase finally looks great.
Yeah.
Finally is weird because he's a rookie. It's his 3rd game. But this is the Jamar Chase they drafted. Right?
This is the Burrow Jamar Chase connection that they drafted. Ben Roethlisberger, same thing I've been saying for the last year. He's not good. He's too old. He's too big. He's not mobile enough.
How long do you think? Because the Steelers and Mike Tomlin said they're not gonna, panic on anything. Look at their schedule real quick. They play the Packers, the Broncos, Seahawks, Browns. The next 4, right? The Packers team who is slowly starting to get it together, which sounds weird for a Rodgers-led team. A Broncos team that's 3-0, could be 4-0 after this next week. They play Seattle, who is currently 1-2, but is definitely not going to stay quiet.
Could be 4-2 by the time they play.
Then they play the Browns team, who is 2-1 and is going to keep pushing forward. So
that's after their bye week. Just not that matters, but it's in there.
If they lose, right? Say they lose against the Packers, are you pressing the panic button? If you say no, if they lose to the Broncos, are you pushing the panic? Like, after which loss? If they keep losing, which loss are you pressing panic and saying Roethlisberger, you're out?
Raiders.
They haven't pressed it yet. You haven't pressed it yet.
No.
I understand what you're saying.
I have already pressed it.
No, I'm saying if you're in their situation right now.
Oh, okay.
Moving forward, you haven't pressed it yet. You have it.
Then it's going to be the Bears because I'm not. You never want to expect that you're going to lose a game, but you lose to the Packers. Okay, the Packers are a good team. You lose to the Broncos. Okay, the Broncos are really hot now. You lose to the Seahawks. Okay, the Seahawks are a good team. You lose to the Browns. Okay, that's a divisional opponent. Sucks to lose, but the Browns are a really good team right now. You lose to the Bears. Now you might, if you're really just being that blind, now you're starting to see, oh wow, we really do have an issue.
You
At
lasted
that point, I guess.
you lasted a little bit longer than I was expecting because the Broncos is if they lose to Green Bay, then Denver, I'm pressing the button. Like it's getting pressed.
Even if the Broncos are 5-0 at that point.
100%. We're 1-5. We're 1-4 at this point.
Sorry, 4. Yeah,
I'm. Get me out.
that's fair.
Get me out. Unless the loss to the Packers and Broncos is like by 7 or less
Close.
both games, then I'm not pressing. But
Just out of curiosity, and I know we'll talk about this later. It's a 7.6.5 favorite for the Packers right now.
I don't agree. But
Hmm.
I think it should be higher. But
I don't. I mean, I'm already pressing the panic button after seeing the clip of Ben Roethlisberger with the agility of a tree. Dude tripped over. I don't know. It didn't look like he tripped over his own feet. His right leg stopped working and he fell. I mean, I have not been a fan of Fred Flintstone for a while now.
After week 1, I was like, man, this Steelers team might be underrated to us. And then week 2 came, and I was like, oh, they're not.
Never mind. They instantly look like who we thought they were going to look like.
They are who we thought they were.
I think it's very fair to say, especially at this point, that week 1 was a fluke for the Bills.
Yeah. I mean, they looked good since, and Pittsburgh's looked the opposite. So, but Joe Burrow, I mean, they're 2-1. He's starting to understand the NFL a little bit more. Yeah, he's having his off game still, but he's a second-year guy.
He only passed it 18 times, though. That's my only concern is they aren't letting him do his job for the most part. Granted, the passes he did have were very good.
But
3 touchdowns, 1 interception, only 4 incompletions.
Are you wanting him to throw more in this game? They won 24-10. Joe Mixon ran 18 carries.
In general, moving forward.
Okay. I thought you were complaining about this game. I was like, that's the game plan right here.
No, not at all. I mean, I know the game plan changes from team to team, from game to game, but I'm not a fan of my quarterback throwing it less than 20 times in a game, almost in every situation. In this situation, they went a little bit more run heavy than pass heavy, so I understand that. Whether it was clock management, Joe Mixon was just on it with average 5 yards a carry, whatever it may be. Great. But if I gave my quarterback 18 attempts, he completed 14 of them, 3 for a touchdown and 1 interception, I'm going to give him more of a chance moving forward. Now, if I give him more of a chance, we give him 30 throws and he throws 3 picks, might tone it back down a little bit.
They had 5 4-and-outs. His interception was 2 plays. That was one of his touchdowns was 42 yards. Another one was 42 yards, 6 plays. One drive was 19 yards on 3 plays. Like their drives aren't very long. There's just in this game they didn't.
And then there's also that aspect of it of if you don't have a lot of field to work with or time or whatever it may be, then you want to run the ball more. But then you look at the other side of this with Ben Roethlisberger, he threw it almost 60 times in this game. Now, I'm going to assume that majority of their drives were either they didn't have a lot of time and a long way to go, or they just had a long way to go in general. Or the fact that they have 0 run game.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Najee Harris. He only got 14 carries.
I'm worried about the Steelers. I'll put it that way.
I'm worried about the Steelers.
A team I'm not worried about though, is the Cardinals. This one, the Cardinals attempted a 68-yard field goal,
which got
returned 109 yards for a touchdown. That's beside the point.
The Cardinals had a very slow start to this game.
If you take away the 7 points from Jacksonville, they only scored 12.
Yeah.
I don't think Trevor Lawrence is good. I said it before the season. I said it when they drafted him. I said it before the season. I'll say it again. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is good. Guys, I get it. He's a rookie. It's his 3rd game. I don't think he's NFL ready. Never thought he was.
Let's do a 1-for-1 trade here. Just hypothetical preseason at the draft. Bears, Jaguars. flip. Trevor Lawrence goes to the Bears. Justin Fields comes to the Jaguars. You think Jaguars are just that bad, or you think it's Trevor Lawrence that's that bad?
I think it's both. I think the Jaguars are that bad. Like they're
I'm
only to me like James Robinson is their saving grace.
yeah.
He was their saving grace toward the end of last season. Your fantasy owners who picked up James Robinson at like week 10 or whatever last season when he started to get hot understand that James Robinson is a GOAT. Here, he's starting to do it again, but outside of James Robinson, I'm not hot at all. At all. Like it is like, you know when you barely turn the shower or the bath on and it's just like super freezing? That's how I am on Jacksonville.
So you're at like on 1 to 10, you're at like a -10.
It's 100%. We are so cold that like I'm not even in my apartment anymore because I don't want to be near the cold water.
So top 5 draft picks, what you're saying?
Top 3.
Top 3.
I think top 3 is honestly going to be Detroit, Jacksonville, and then Giants/Jets, whichever one decides they want to get it together.
They want to
together.
Win
They'll be the 4th team. So, but on the other side, Kyler Murray threw a pick, no touchdowns. I mean, he didn't need to. They ran for 3. This one's a pretty simple discussion. Arizona's good. Jacksonville's not.
Spread the ball around a whole bunch on the passes he did make.
Yeah, 5 receptions, 7, 3, 3, 1, 2. I mean, Arizona looks good.
Arizona looks good.
So
defense looks good. I mean, they turned it on in the second half. That's all there is to it.
I think there were 4 turnovers from Jacksonville. Yep, that sounds about right. That's how you lose games.
Almost 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly.
So, well, said it again. But another rookie quarterback that's looking terrible, who I said was going to have a better season than Trevor Lawrence, was Zach Wilson and the Jets, who got shut out by Denver.
Yeah. And again, the Broncos just kind of did what they needed to do. They didn't do anything super impressive. They didn't do anything terrible. It just kind of worked.
I just want to apologize to all Broncos fans. I'm sorry for not giving Bridgewater enough credit. I'm going to say it. I apologize. He is doing exactly what they need to do. Every week. I know I said that they only get up 26 points, and you said, well, they don't play anyone. Then you have teams.
Yes and no, though.
You have teams who play the teams that they should be like beating really bad, and they give up a lot of points. Like Denver's whole game is like, we're gonna play 4 quarters of standout football.
Yeah.
No matter who we're playing, and I'm like, I like that mentality.
A caveat to my comment earlier of look at who they played. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you play if you don't give up any points. To your point. You give up no points, you win the game. That's generally how it works.
Yeah, this Jets team,
They got some problems.
There's not much to say in this game. Denver looks good. The Jets don't. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to say it.
C.J. Mosley, not bad. Quincy Williams, not bad for the Jets, both of them. Other than that,
they need some help.
Really not going good for them.
They need some help. So
they need some help.
Miami did go into LV and unfortunately lost in overtime. They definitely had a chance to win this game.
Yeah, multiple chances to win this game.
But Derek Carr doesn't look terrible. Derek Carr continues 386 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, the pick, it sucks, but
that's bound. I mean, I said earlier I want my quarterback to be throwing more. There's a happy medium there.
Yeah.
You throw more than X amount of times, you're going to start making mistakes. There's those occasional ones that don't happen that way, but you don't throw enough, then you don't give yourself enough opportunity. Blah blah blah. That's how it plays out. But I watched this game almost the whole way through, and it started out really really bad for the Raiders, and then they got the safety towards the end of the first quarter, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
From then on, the Raiders looked really really good, and the Dolphins were just clawing onto those 2 early touchdowns. One being a pick 6 on a terrible screen.
I don't know, man. The Raiders putting up 140 yards on the ground without Josh Jacobs, I think is a great sign that Even when your top running
Oh yeah.
back's out, you still put up great yardage. Like
Oh yeah.
this Raiders team being 3-0, if they keep
I'm
playing like this,
surprised, but I'm not surprised.
yeah, it's like a weird like, well, maybe I could see it, but I'm also not shocked, but this team's good.
This team's good.
Miami, honestly, I think they still would have lost to Buffalo in week 2. Maybe not as bad as they did. But I think
Do
they
you
could
think
have won this
Miami?
game if Tua was
Okay,
there.
there's my question.
So like 1-2, 2-1 is sort of where I was expecting them to be after 3 weeks. Anyways.
Yeah,
So
but without Tua, it's looking a lot more grim for them
I
than with Tua.
I just don't expect them to do much without Tua. Sorry, Miami fans, but
And now, whenever Tua comes back, because of the situation he's going to be in, I don't expect them to do much with their season as a whole.
yeah, unfortunately.
Because he's going to be coming back instead of them being how long is he out? 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's
So
a
week
3-week
5,
game.
6, he'll be back.
Yeah.
So at week 6, they should have been 4-2, 3-3 at worst. Now they might be 2-4 at best.
Honestly,
So that's
I think
a
they beat the
whole
Jags
big up.
even with Brisket at quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
So that puts them at 2-4. Maybe they beat the Falcons.
and that'd be his comeback week, I think.
Yeah.
Or his comeback week is against the Jags.
The Bills.
I don't know. So
Okay, yeah.
we'll see. Tua they could save their season, but Tua has to be basically perfect on the way out.
Yeah, by the time Tua comes back, he's got like a 1-game buffer.
Yeah. So
Not panicking on the Dolphins. Definitely very satisfied with where the Raiders are at. If I'm either team.
2 teams I'm not panicking about, regardless of who had won this game, is Tampa Bay and the Rams, which was by far my light just got really bright. So if you want to talk about it real quick while I turn off my light.
Very good game, and I know for those of you who are watching us live at twitch.tv/memestreams32teams, hello chat. Rams looked very good. Rams looked exceptionally good. Buccaneers also looked exceptionally good, minus their run game. I think that was the low light for the Bucks is they had 0 run game, and I think that's a lot to do with how good the Rams defense is. The Rams
Yeah.
front 8 is just a wall essentially. And Tom Brady was the leading rusher at 14 yards. If you need me to say more about the run game, then there's not really much more to say. The Rams looked very good. I actually had money on the Bucks this game, and was
Yikes.
yeah yeah rip that parlay.
Just like Tom Brady still looks good.
Tom Brady, I mean, yeah,
Right, he still looks good even at 44, right? Like it I know everyone's like, yeah, he's the greatest of all time, but still he's 44. Like there has to be a point where he slows down, and he's not. Okay,
he threw for over 400 yards and completed over 2/3 of his passes.
He's 44, guys. He shouldn't be playing this well. It's frustrating. He's still good. Matthew Stafford is exactly who we thought he was coming into the Rams. A guy who has been on poor teams.
He finally got help. He's the same. He is the same player that he was in Detroit. I don't think he's gotten any better. I don't think he's got worse since he was in Detroit. It's just now he has a team that he can actually utilize to its fullest capabilities. After Megatron, he had nothing.
I would say he's gotten better. I think it's better not in terms of physical skills, but more in mental skills in terms of trust.
Well, it's crazy how much more trust, and how much more knowledge you get with an extra second and a half in the pocket.
I wasn't even going to say that. I was going to say the people who can catch the ball.
That too.
Right? And
he knows he can throw that sketchy pass to Cooper Kupp, or he can throw that really high pass to Higbee.
Or he can throw it 90 yards down to Deshaun Jackson. Like,
yeah. And know that 9 out of 10 times they're going to be there.
I'll be honest, I would not be shocked. They're 3-0. We're 3 weeks in. This is crazy to say to some people. I would not be shocked if I see the Rams playing at home in the Super Bowl this year.
The way it's going, yeah.
I'm not going to say that I'm expecting them to, but if they end up there, I'm not going to be like, oh, who would have seen that coming? Because I'd have been like, well, guys, week 3, I did say.
Yeah. And I believe preseason we both picked the Bucks.
We said it was a repeat.
Yeah, on both sides.
So
Bucks look. I mean,
the way this is trending,
week 1.
is these two teams will be our last two NFC teams. It will be a
Yeah.
repeat.
Number one versus number one seed versus two seed. Pick
Yeah.
who's who.
Yeah.
And we said this after week 1. The Bucks still look great. They played a really good team and won. This week they still looked great, minus their run game. They figured that out. I think they win this game. I see no reason that they would be slowing down. They got the Patriots next week, Dolphins the week after that, Eagles the week after that, Bears the week after that.
Yeah, the Bucks are going to end up with like 12 plus wins. The Rams are going to end up with 13 plus wins. I'm not worried about these teams.
No. Good game to watch. Unexpected outcome. Not unexpected outcome, kind of.
Seattle into Minnesota. I'm gonna say it. I don't want to say it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it, guys. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna put it on record. Okay. Kirk Cousins outplayed Russell Wilson.
How'd you feel?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I understand your reservations on Kirk Cousins, but how much more does he have to do to prove you wrong?
This man needs to go to the playoffs and prove it to me. I'll say it year in and year out. I don't care what you do in the regular season.
No, that's fair. That's very fair.
Like if Kirk Cousins was great in the regular season and bad in the postseason, like if he went 17-0, then lost his very first playoff game like 45-0, I'd be like, what was the point?
Steelers last year.
What was the point of the Steelers last year?
Yeah.
The Vikings are 1-2 and are very fortunate to get the win against Seattle.
Yeah.
Like going into this game, I thought 0-3, right?
Oh, I was gonna say, looking at their first 3 games, if you told me they were 1-2, I'm not thinking it was the Seahawks. Not really thinking it was the Cardinals.
I thought it was week 1.
I would have said it was week 1.
Yeah.
And again, they're just gonna have another gut check next week against the Browns. But I know, and I was thinking coming to this game that they had very minimal chance without Dalvin Cook. And then this dude, Alexander Madison, comes out of nowhere, destroys me on fantasy, destroys the Seahawks on the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did he come from?
He's been, yeah. He's been in and out of Minnesota's lineup for the past couple of years.
Yeah, 400 yards last year.
400 yards in his rookie season.
Previous year. So, I mean, he's been there. He's been behind Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. Kind of hard to play when...
If you have Dalvin Cook, one of the top running backs in the league, we've said it before, you tell me Dalvin Cook's out, I'm thinking that production of that team's going to drop. I don't care who you're replacing him with.
It's like they didn't even miss him. Like it wasn't even...
They did not miss a beat. 26 carries, average 4.3 yards. No touchdowns out of him, but hopefully if you're doing that much production, the rest of the team can figure that out, and they did.
Honestly, I'm not too worried about Seattle being 1-2. It does
Not at all.
It does hurt that they're 1-2. They play the 49ers next, which I think they can beat San Francisco, despite San Francisco being 2-1. Then they play the Rams, which
that's going to be.
Then they get a good 3-game stretch: Steelers, Saints, Jags that they could easily win 2 of, maybe 3 of those games. I'm not worried about the Seahawks. Honestly, I'm just not. If they lose next week, it's going to be a little worrisome because they'll be 1-4 after 5 weeks.
Yeah, which makes it very tough. And I don't know. Well, we've seen it a couple of times. The stats always pop up every here and there. But they go after the 49ers. Rams is prime time. Steelers is prime time. Saints is prime time. How are they going to do then?
They have so many primetime games because then
They
later
have
in
a
the season
lot
they
of
play
primetime
Washington
games.
and then 49ers on primetime.
And then Steelers and Bears on prime time.
They have no noon games. What the heck? Oh, no, they have
They've
one.
got their last game,
Sorry.
2 games, 3 games, 4 games. They've got a lot of noon games.
No, they only have one noon. There's
I'm
12
looking
and 3,
at
3, 3, 3.
Sorry, I clicked on the wrong schedule. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know how they did that, but I'm not worried about Seattle. Minnesota.
People want to watch them.
Minnesota's 1-2. They just need to build off of this win.
They just need to play their game.
Because they're technically
they should end up.
They were a field goal away from being 3-0. 2 field goals if you put one in each game is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this team could be 3-0, which I don't like
I'm not
for
worried about
my
the Seahawks
for
at
my
all.
core. Not I
Well,
don't have anything against the Vikings. I just for my core because Kirk Cousins being 3-0 would hurt me. So we'll see.
not worried about either of these teams. I mean, you look at this game and see the Vikings beat the Seahawks 30 to 17. I would think the Vikings are doing a lot better than they are,
Yeah, I agree.
but they've lost by a combined 4 points.
Um,
So not worried about them. We'll see how they do against the Browns next week.
Green Bay into San Fran.
Left too much time on the clock. It's not the first time we've seen Aaron Rodgers do something in less than 2 minutes.
It was 37 seconds to be exact.
Yeah. It's not the first time we've seen it. It's not the first time we've seen it. Is it the first time we've seen it this year, actually?
This season,
Maybe.
yes.
Yeah, it is the first time we've seen it this year. Okay. It won't be the last time we see it this year,
Week
probably.
1, Aaron Rodgers didn't show up. Week
Yeah.
2, he sort of did. They played the Lions.
Showed up second half.
Week 3, I don't want to say it. Aaron Rodgers is back.
Aaron Rodgers is back.
Right? San Francisco, I think they're riddled with injuries. I think it's gonna screw with them, to be honest. So
I mean,
they lose by 2, so it's hard for me to say like, oh, I'm worried. But
I think they win this if Trace.
if Raheem Mostert plays in this game,
Thank you.
I think they win this game because then they actually
Yeah.
have a run game.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but they lose on a last-second field goal. It's hard to say that San Francisco loses this game anyways, but yeah. In the last game of the week,
Monday Night Football.
Dallas
honestly,
made the Eagles look like children.
Yeah, I was gonna say same thing we said in a couple other games. You can say your piece on the Cowboys, like I said my piece on the Falcons. There wasn't much to this game. Cowboys played amazing. They played their game. Eagles looked like who we thought the Eagles, for the most part, were. And Cowboys did their job, came out with a win, went home. And then Tim the Tatman played Warzone all their screen tonight. So
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. The Cowboys are looking. Again, I'm biased, guys. So you can come at me in the Twitch chat, or you can come at me on Twitter. I don't care. But the Cowboys are looking like one of the best multi-dimensional teams in the NFL.
Dak is back. Zeke is back. The defense is there.
We scored 5 touchdowns with 220 in the air and 160 on the ground. If you do that, you win games.
That's a really good split.
Jalen Hurts on the other side of the ball, I said this before. I don't think he is like ready to be a starter. I get it. He didn't get a full season last season. This is his true first full NFL season. He just doesn't look good to me.
I'm not going to. He didn't look good, no, but he didn't look bad. There were a lot of things that he could have done better. There's a lot of things that he did really good.
Jalen Hurts.
But overall, it was a little bit above average for me.
What they need to do is what the Cowboys have started to do with Dak more, and they need to get him rolling out of the pocket more. Like Jalen Hurts on the run, it feels more natural for him because of like the college style. They need to do that more. They need to use his legs to get him outside the pocket, away from, the pressure, and let him.
Which he's under a lot of.
A lot. So that's what they just need to do. Outside of that, I don't know. I'm not really high on the Eagles, to be honest. So we'll see.
I don't know.
The Cowboys look good.
Are you panicking on the Eagles?
It's hard to panic on a team I was never high on.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
No, that's what I was getting at. We didn't have really any expectations for the Eagles as far as playoffs or otherwise. So 1 and 2's, yeah, that's about right.
They beat you guys, but I'm sorry, you guys don't really look that good.
We're bad. Like I said, we need a 12-man defense to even have a chance.
They lost to a 49ers team who I think is average. They only put up 11 points. So I'm not even going to count that as like even a real game.
Yeah.
And they played a real team in the Cowboys, and they got smacked.
And
Then they play the
They're going
Chiefs.
to play a real team in the Chiefs, and they're going to get smacked. And then the Panthers are looking good. And then they play the Bucks, and then they play the Raiders. So they very well be 1-6 going into Detroit.
Okay. We've spent a lot of time, more time than I was
Mhm.
expecting to talk about this
Yes.
week.
Yes.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to speed run through this.
All right.
Okay. Do you have ESPN schedule week 4 up?
I do.
Okay. Do you see it also Jacksonville, then Washington, Houston, Detroit, Carolina, right on the left?
Yes. Yes.
We're going to go through and we're just going to do our
Mhm.
picks.
Okay.
And then we're each going to pick a team or a game that everyone should watch. That is not Monday night or Sunday night because I don't want to pick. I don't want to pick those games.
Yeah.
Those are unfair because there's nothing else to watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Jacksonville, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati by a touchdown. At least a touchdown.
I'm gonna say Cincinnati by 14.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to pick this game. Washington versus Atlanta.
Washington by field goal.
That's fair. I'm gonna pick Washington by field goal. Houston at Buffalo. I think Buffalo makes Houston look like children.
Buffalo by 17.
Buffalo by 1,000. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think Buffalo wins that.
3-6. You pick the winner.
Detroit at Chicago. This ending score is 2-0.
Do I have to pick?
You know, honestly, I think Detroit wins this.
I was gonna say I think 3-6 pick a winner. It's gonna be very abysmal to watch this game, but I think Detroit got a better chance, just because they got to
Chicago
figure
is just
something out.
terrible.
They got to figure something out in Chicago.
Carolina.
But Detroit by this much.
Oh yeah, it's not much. It's gonna be about the same amount that Justin Tucker's field goal went in, which means that Detroit is gonna bounce into a win.
He kicked it 66.1, and it was enough.
Carolina at Dallas. I'm biased in picking Dallas, but even unbiased, I would pick Dallas.
Of the early slate, this is the best game on there that I can see. There's another one. Dallas by less than a touchdown.
I don't like you, but I understand. Indy at Miami. Do you want me to? Do you want me to? Do you want to? Do you want me?
Yeah.
Do you want me?
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah. What you got?
I think you
I've
should
got my
go.
pick.
Miami.
Miami.
No,
by
don't tell
like
me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
one.
I don't want bias. I don't want bias.
Okay. Yeah.
Dude, this is such a hard game.
It's not a good matchup. I'll say this.
I'm gonna say Indy.
Miami by 1.5 is the spread. I think Miami wins, but the Colts cover.
Ending score 17-16.
Basically.
Cleveland at Minnesota. I think this is the best noon game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
That's what I was gonna say.
I think this is the best noon game.
And I think the Browns take it by a touchdown.
I agree. I think the Browns win. Giants at New Orleans. I think New Orleans wins.
New Orleans by 30.
Tennessee at New York. The Jets. Tennessee by 40. Kansas City at Philadelphia. Kansas City by 30.
Kansas City by 30.
Now the best 3:00 game.
Mm-hmm.
Is
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's another game. You know, honestly, the afternoon
all three
games
of these are actually really good.
are not bad.
All 4 of these are really. 3 of the 4.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Arizona at the Rams. This game has to be on everyone's TV. If you can watch this game.
Yeah.
Because I'm picking the Rams, but I would not be shocked. I'm gonna say this: do not bet on this game.
No.
I don't care. I don't care if you bet only money line. If you bet spread, do not touch this game with a 3,000-foot pole.
I will bet over 10 points. That's about the only bet I'm doing on this game.
I'll put over 0. That's how confident I am.
I'm picking Arizona, and it's probably the same margin. You didn't say a margin, but I'm saying no more than like 3 to 5.
I honestly, I see this going like a last-second field goal.
Yeah, exactly. I'm picking the Cardinals though, just barely.
Seattle at San Francisco is not a bad game to watch, but I would prefer the other game.
No, same thing we said a minute ago. Seattle probably by a touchdown or more.
I pick Seattle just because I'm just not high on Jimmy G in San Francisco. I think they missed out on getting Aaron Rodgers during the offseason. Baltimore at Denver. This game I want to watch.
This was going to be my game to pick.
Because if Denver is really the real deal, this is the game to cement that. Because Baltimore hasn't looked that good, but they are a good team. So if Denver comes in and wins by like 14, I'm going to be nervous about playing Denver this season.
Yeah. This is going to be a game.
I know.
This is actually a really close one because Denver's hot and looking good. Baltimore, I'll say this: if Baltimore plays like Baltimore should, Baltimore wins. If Baltimore plays to Denver's level, Denver wins.
I have my pick. You go.
You want to say it at the same time?
I don't think we have the same team.
I don't think so.
Maybe we do.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, on 3.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Denver.
Denver. Okay.
Let's go! Oh man, Ravens fans.
Denver
I'm so sorry.
by
it's
Denver
a
by
back
a Justin
7.
Tucker field goal.
What?
Denver last second field goal.
Okay, I was like, how would Justin Tucker kick a field goal and Denver wins? Thank you. Yeah, I think Denver wins, but I think it's by max 7.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh goes into Green Bay.
Green Bay by
10.
Green Bay by. I was gonna say Green Bay by 40 if Aaron Rodgers shows up. About 10 to 16 if he doesn't.
Yeah, I think Green Bay. Tampa Bay goes into New England, and I think New England leaves New England.
Broken.
No, I think they just move the team.
Oh, okay, yeah. Tampa by 50 next.
So we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we also have, because we can have 2 teams in the same city, we'll also have the Tampa Bay Patriots.
Basically,
Because they will follow Brady to Tampa Bay finally.
Whatever fans are left
And
that
then,
didn't follow.
man, Monday night.
Probably the game of the week.
What a good game. Vegas at LA. That is the Chargers, to be exact. How do I pick this game?
I was gonna say, do you want to give us both a minute and then on 3
No,
again?
I'm just going with my gut. I have my pick.
All right. Do we have the same? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so
Who you got?
nervous. I'm picking the Raiders,
Okay. Yeah. Same.
and I think it could
This
be
game
overtime.
will be won in the fourth. This game, I was gonna say, this game will be won in the fourth quarter.
This is a game that will either be decided in the first quarter or the fourth quarter. Because
Whenever you say first quarter, you mean a team just gets out to a massive lead at the end of the first and holds on?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I see games that are this close, it's either the first quarter, like someone just has too many blunders, and then it's just like fumble, interception, fumble, like right, and they just give the ball away and let the other team go score 28 points or whatever. Browns versus Steelers. Or the first 3 quarters, it's just like
they're just slugfest.
Yeah, they're just punching back and forth. And in the fourth quarter, one person just has just a little bit more in the tank.
Side question on this game: do you see it being low scoring, all defense, or a shootout?
Okay. This game is gonna have, I would
I
say,
can
at
see
least
it
60
going
points.
either way. I can see it going either way.
I think this game has at least 60 points.
That's fair.
No.
That outside of, like you said earlier, not the primetime games, Raiders Chargers is going to be the game of the week. My other game to watch would be Ravens and Broncos.
I would say, yeah, Ravens Broncos is like my first game to watch. Number 2 would be Arizona LA Rams, and then 3rd would be Cleveland Minnesota.
Yeah.
For not primetime games. So there's a lot of games that are kind of just like meh this week. Like New Orleans should beat the Giants, Tennessee should beat the Jets, Kansas City should beat the Eagles.
A lot of shoulds.
Buffalo
But
should beat
you are
Houston.
right. You are right.
If you want to watch a mess of a game, I'd watch Detroit Chicago.
Falcons Washington.
I mean, true that one too. Or the Thursday night game.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot that could happen this week. I'm expecting it to be somewhat uneventful.
Yeah.
Outside of a handful of games.
Yeah, pretty much. So
yeah.
But Eddie, that will do it for this week's review.
Yes.
And my fun fact for the day.
All right. I'll give you the option.
What is my...
Fact 1 or fact 2?
All right, I'm going to do it this way to involve the Twitch chat. All right, Twitch chat, I need you to give me number 1 or 2. The first person to give me a number is what we do.
Twitch chat, what you got?
I'm waiting. Okay. If we don't
Not
get an
doing
actual...
both.
If the next response is not an actual number, I'm just going to say the number that's in my gut, too. That's what I was going to choose.
Okay. 14-0. Gives you a pretty good hint to start out with what that is, at least.
Is it a score?
It is.
Oh, okay. I'm getting good at this. Is it the lowest scoring Super Bowl?
No. Maybe. Well, this game wasn't a Super Bowl, but no.
Is it the highest scoring, like, without a touchdown? So, like, 4 field goals and a safety?
No, but I'm not going to say that couldn't have happened in this game. But no.
14-0. 14-0. It is just not. It's just not. 14-0.
Seems very insignificant, but yeah.
I have no idea. I literally can't think of anything.
You want one hint?
Sure.
American Pro Football Association.
Just tell me the fact, because I not even get the...
It's this week in history. On October 3rd, 1920, the first ever American Pro Football Association, later to be renamed the NFL, was played in Triangle Park in Dayton, Ohio.
Wait, this is the first, quote, professional football game in America?
This is the first, quote, professional football game in America. Ended at 14-0. The Dayton Triangles beat the Columbus Panhandles.
They called themselves the Triangles.
They did.
We talked about that league the last episode before, and I just... Just for the memes, if I called my team the Triangles, we could only kick field goals.
3s only.
Get into, like, red zone, field goal. All right, kickoff. Get the red zone, field goal. All right.
That's fair. Yeah.
We just have to have a really good defense.
Coming up on 101 years ago.
That is absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
Do we have
I'm looking.
Do we have like a who scored? Not who scored, but like if they were like passing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns?
I'm trying to find a box score, but I think this is before paper was invented, so give me a second.
That's not how it works. I remember back in my day, paper wasn't invented.
We wrote on our hands. We traded out history books by writing it on our back.
What is it? AFPA?
APFA.
APFA.
American Pro Football Association. Trying to find anything on it. Each player was paid $50 for the game. Admission fee for the crowd of 4,000 was $1.75.
Wait. I'm so confused.
What's up?
Oh. There was a game that happened the week before on September 26th. The Rock Island Independents played the St. Paul Ideals. They won 48-0. But the St. Paul Ideals were not a registered football team. That's why it was not considered a professional game.
Okay. Yeah, I can't find anything on this game other than it happened.
I don't.
This was the same league as that has the Akron Pros.
Yeah, who were awarded the Brunswick Balk Calendar Cup and named APFA champions.
1920.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They. Oh, football. Why did you
Oh,
change? They won 8 games, lost none, and tied 3.
let's go. They technically started on week 2 of the season.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Yeah. The worst part is that teams played non-APFA teams.
So that'd be the equivalent of like NFL teams playing the AFL or the CFL.
Yes, not like college, but like other professional leagues that but aren't considered professional in this state. Like in this, like they played the Union Club of Phoenixville.
Phoenixville sounds so made up. Okay.
The team is best known for defeating the Canton Bulldogs 13-7 in 1920. Then the
Oh
team
yeah, I
folded
don't
in
remember that.
1921. But they had
Well,
undefeated seasons in 1908, 1910, 1911, 1912, 1915, 1918, and 1920.
hmm. I'm curious if like the NFL didn't start, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was like, hey, we're really good at this. Let's just get some other suckers to make teams so we can just beat the crap out of them.
See, that's what you would think, but
That wouldn't
for
surprise me.
example, the very last game, the something Cardinals, I don't know how to say that, Racine Cardinals, played the Chicago Stames and tied 14-14. And
Ah, yes.
Chicago Stames is a non-APFA team.
Are you saying stains like I dropped
No,
ketchup on
with
my
an
shirt?
M.
Oh,
S-T-A
stame. Like Stamos.
S-T-A-Y-M-S.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm done. I'm not looking at it. I'm done. I'm not looking at it. Okay, we're done.
By the way, the lowest scoring Super Bowl
Oh, God.
was Patriots and Rams a couple years ago, 13-3.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that Super Bowl. Oh, what a pathetic Super Bowl that was.
Yep, hosted in the great city of Atlanta.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What a horrible year. But friends, that will do it for episode 45. We appreciate you guys watching, hanging out in the Twitch chat, listening on any of the platforms. You can find us, like I said, in Twitch. Just search twitch.tv/meme streams 32 teams. We go live every Tuesday with our episodes, usually starting around 7 p.m. Central, sometimes a little bit later. You can find us on Twitter at memes32 teams. Tweet us with any of your fantasy picks, any of your gambling bets. We will maybe help you, but we are not held liable for any loss of funds due to gambling or fantasy football. So please do not come at us, and that is legally binding. Asterisk. But and you can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Just search Meme Streams 32 Teams. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and we will see you guys next week after week 4 with episode 46. Peace.
Bye bye.